Everyone loves chocolate, but do you know about the raw form named cacao? Chocolate is made from the cacao bean, which has been harvested, fermented, and whole. Known as black gold, it contains over 300 chemical compounds and a high source of antioxidants. But unfortunately, the chocolate that we are used to having has dairy in it, which blocks the absorption of antioxidants. So if you get the opportunity to get some raw cacao, here are some of the benefits. Number one, it helps with blood pressure. And number two, it contains magnesium, iron, and potassium. All of that in 1 ounce of raw cacao. The more you know, the more you grow. I'm Angela Yvonne, and this is Vegan Pop Eats. Chocolate. Now that I have your attention, Matthew Kenney has been a pioneer in the plant-based space. Right in New York alone, he's given us Double Zero and Bar Verde. And now he is partnering with Chocolatier Sebastian Brecht. And they are speaking my love language of chocolate. But not just any chocolate. They're giving us ganaches, bars, pralines, and they're 100% plant-based. Located right here at 63 East 4th Street, the name says it all, Casse Cou. I can't wait for you to see this. Yes, I know you can't imagine me being here in this chocolate space, but we are here and we're going to teach you everything about chocolate. I am here with Sebastian. He is the head chocolatier of Casse Cou, and thank you so much for allowing us to be in your space, and I'm super excited with what you're going to teach us today. So,
all right. Well, thanks, Angela, for having me. It's great fun. I guess, you know, we could talk about chocolate and we can make chocolate. And
yes.
So I want you to help us if possible.
Yes.
This is a chocolate mold.
Okay.
It has cavities, and we're going to fill it up. And I'm gonna sort of do this, and then we'll make a ganache, and I'll tell you what a ganache is.
Yes.
And then you'll make the ganache. We'll weigh it out. We'll make the ganache, and we'll pipe it in the mold.
See, y'all are gonna have to talk to me differently after this episode, because now this is adding to my bougie level, and you know, you're just gonna have to talk to me differently. That's all that I got to say.
Fantastic.
So, all right. What do we need to do? I need to get gloves.
Our gloves, because the pandemic, are not the best, so they're hard to put on. So I would wrestle with them for like a minute.
That's fine. That's fine. So while I'm wrestling with this,
and do you want me to show you a basic technique?
I mean, you could if you want, but I think. Oh, I got it. It's cool. So, tell me a little bit about your plant-based journey.
Well,
while I'm doing this.
I didn't grow up plant-based, and I would say I'm just about 100% there. My mother was a great cook, and I come from a theater family, and my mother would have parties every Sunday for like 50 people in the downtown theater scene, and she'd cook, and there'd be singing, and there'd be a whole bunch of different things. And that was pretty much my whole childhood, growing up in the theater. But she was certainly, she and my father and my sister, we were not plant-based at all. And, you know, now I'm a father. I have two 22-year-olds and 18-year-old, and,
Yes.
and both of my 22-year-olds are plant-based. And it wasn't because of me. It's sort of, it's really what younger people are doing. And it's sort of like, when they have kids, their kids are going to remember their early plant-based meals, you know, and that's very important because I think as you get older, you always go back to the food your parents sort of made for you. And a whole new generation are going to be growing up with like plant-based food. And I think it's going to be imprinted in their memory. It's a sort of a beautiful thing, you know. So yeah. And
so they're going to be like, oh, you used to eat meat? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they'll have a different a perspective than a lot of people my age who've sort of been crossing over late in life.
Right.
You know, so their kids will grow up with plant-based, which is an interesting thing.
I think that's phenomenal.
So yeah, chocolate is sort of amazing. You know, I've been making chocolate for like 10 years.
Wow.
And I had a chocolate shop, and it was veering very closely to plant-based, but we weren't totally plant-based. And you know, Matthew Kenney, who's a great chef and great guy, has these 3 restaurants in the neighborhood, and so we sort of got together, and you know, and it was thought that it would be great to have a plant-based chocolate shop. And one of my worries was that everything was going to taste like coconut, you know, and that has always been the thing about everything tastes like coconut. Why would I want to eat it? And I think I've really managed to avoid that. It's sort of amazing. That's not even a problem with me anymore. And I do use coconut milk. I use oat milk. I use like purees of raspberry or blackcurrant, or lemon juice. But it's no longer a coconut chocolate. In fact, I don't think anyone can really tell this is plant-based, which is very important to me.
Right.
Because it's sort of my job to please plant-based people, but it's also to get people who aren't plant-based and to realize that, you know, in this day and age, last 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, you can do the best food plant-based. It's not a compromise anymore. And I think it was for a while, and I think now it's no longer. So I think it's just fabulous.
It's a whole lifestyle, and I always tell people, this is not a life of lack. It's a life of abundance. And we eat good over here. Hence, luxury chocolate. Oh, I cannot wait to get into this.
And I'm a sort of I know how to cook, and so I do a lot of plant-based things at home, which are just fabulous. And so I could talk about that at some point. Yes. Right now, this is I guess this is a chocolate mold. We're going to fill it up with chocolate, and then we're going to empty it, and so that the insides are just coated with chocolate. Okay. And we're going to let it get hard. It'll take like 5 minutes, and then we're going to have Angela. We'll make a ganache, and then we'll fill up the mold, and then we'll finish it with another layer of hard chocolate.
So is this mold kept at a certain temperature in order for the chocolate to mold quickly, or is it just
room temperature? It's pretty much room temperature. If it's too cold, the chocolate would harden. If it's too hot, the chocolate would not be tempered properly, and that's all. Being tempered is a sort of a whole thing that I could talk about.
So at what degree is it the perfect degree for?
You can sort of look right here. So 30 degrees.
30 degrees,
is sort of like the best temper. And so, you know, every chocolatier has a style of how they will mold the chocolate.
My gosh.
And so this is what you do. And I'm going to do it more slow than I usually do. And so you guys can sort of see.
Oh, that just looks so beautiful.
And part of the idea, so all this chocolate is tempered, meaning the cocoa butter is in the right crystal form. I can talk about that more. And what you're trying to do is you fill up each cavity, and then you kind of clean it off like that. And you try not to get the sides too messy all the time. And if you do, you kind of clean it up like that. And you go like this. And this chocolate machine has a vibration table on it. So now it's going to make a little noise. It's vibrating. And so you'll put it on here. And if you look closely, air bubbles are coming out. And those air bubbles could be holes in the chocolate where the filling would get through. And so we're sort of getting rid of the air bubbles. And once we do that, we'll turn it over like this. And most of the chocolate will go back in to the machine. And we clean it up.
So that sort of like sets it, the vibration. Okay.
That way it takes out the air bubbles and it sort of allows the chocolate to
so beautiful.
to release. And if you look at it this way, you kind of always clean up the thing because you don't want to waste. You don't want to waste a product. And so this is what we have.
So there's different, I know that with regular chocolate, there's different types of chocolate like milk chocolate or dark chocolate.
Right.
Which ones do you predominantly use? I know you don't use the milk chocolate, but which chocolate do you, I guess, would use with the chocolates that you use, like the base?
We actually, so our base chocolate is a 72%, meaning it has 28% sugar.
Okay.
And so that sounds sweet, but it's considered bittersweet. It's actually quite bittersweet.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't have a strong, and so once I do this, I'm going to put it here. And now it doesn't have a strong, like bitter flavor. You can get some 72% chocolates that are bitter, and you can get some 72 chocolates that are more neutral tasting. And
so what would 100% be?
100% is no sugar. So that's
okay.
But you can get 100% chocolates that are more bitter, and why they'd be more bitter is basically they roast the cocoa beans longer. Okay. It's like coffee to a certain degree. They roast the cocoa beans longer, or it's a different type of cocoa bean that tends to be more bitter.
Okay. And so there's different types of cocoa beans that you use for each particular flavor for chocolate.
Yeah, I mean there's three main categories of cocoa bean.
Okay.
But there's also a bunch of hybrids, and so you can get a combination of the two. Some are more bitter, some are more fruity tasting, and then not only that, it's you could roast it and you could burn it, or you could roast it like a little less. And of course, there's raw chocolate too, which is not roasted.
Right.
So it has sort of a less like pronounced. It's like coffee. They roast the beans to like the various levels, and so yeah. So once we do this, we're waiting for it to get a little hard, and then we're gonna clean it off.
Oh wow! It's already shiny.
It's already shiny, and I think we'll clean it off now.
So how did you get into the luxury space of chocolate?
Well, it's funny. I always tell people to a certain degree is that there's two types of people who get into chocolates, and there's the neat person, the neat freak, who likes everything neat, and then gets into chocolate. That's like 80% of them, if not more. Then there's the messy person who always wanted to be neat, and that's me. I always wanted to do neat things because I was messy, and so I was seduced into it by trying to be neat versus being neat. And so I think that sort of is the interesting psychological profile of,
because you have to in order to get things together, because nobody wants messy chocolate.
Nobody wants messy chocolate.
It looks like, ooh, he put heart into it, but whenever you're purchasing it, you like the consistency of the shapes and things of that nature. So you really have to concentrate if you are a messy person.
Yes. And I'm no longer messy. I mean, it's much more of a childhood thing. So once this is tempered chocolate,
yes.
And we're going to put it in the refrigerator for like 5 minutes. And in the meantime, we'll make the filling. And we're sort of rushing this. I would do this at a much slower pace, but because you're here and I don't want you to stay, it's really a 24-hour process. Ooh. And I sort of could explain the technical reason why it takes so long. But we'll put this in the refrigerator, we'll get hard, and then in the meantime we'll make a filling. And I'm just going to make up a filling in my head. Okay?
Oh.
I think we'll do a white rum filling today. All right?
Sebastian.
And so this is a sugarcane rum, which is sort of famous in Brazil, and the French are famous. So there's no molasses in it. It's a white rum, and I'm going to hopefully be testing out a new chocolate with this. So
yes.
We will.
So you're just making this off the cuff.
Sort of, yes. That's what I do. I mean.
Yes, Sebastian.
So we're going to have you be the head chocolatier today, which will be so much fun. So
yes.
we're going to get a scale.
Okay.
And I'll have you, you got your gloves on.
Got my gloves
fantastic.
on, I'm ready.
So, in general, dark chocolate is vegan, but milk and white is not. Because milk and white chocolate have milk powder, which is not vegan.
So white chocolate, this is white.
Yeah, but this is vegan white.
Vegan white.
And so it has rice flour and almonds in it. The reason it has almonds is for moisture and also for taste. If something has too much rice flour, it's a little starchy in the mouth, and it doesn't have a good consistency. Okay. So this is a specialty chocolate that we could find. And
so is this chocolate 100% or is it?
This is milk chocolate.
Okay.
So this again has almonds and rice flour, and this has almonds and rice flour too.
Ooh.
And so they're quite nice products.
And
so
you make these as well?
We don't make these, but we do know how to do that here.
Okay.
We know how to do that's sort of bean to bar, which is sort of like a very specific thing where you take. You start from the very beginning, and we don't quite do that here. And
right.
I could talk about that more another time.
Okay.
But I'm going to have you do a little recipe. And
I'm so excited about this.
We'll take the scale and then we'll bring it to zero.
Bring it to
and
zero.
Bring it to zero again. Okay, this recipe will be, we'll take 95 grams. So we use grams in chocolate just because it's much more precise than ounces.
Okay.
There's 30 grams to an ounce, but we could do like 25 grams, 24 grams, depending on the recipe. So you'll take some of the white chocolate and you'll measure 95 grams. And we're doing a very small recipe. This is just to show sort of one of the processes that we do.
You said 95?
Yeah. And if it's 96, it's fine. If it's 93, it's fine. We're not going to worry about that.
Ooh, too much. Hold on. You said 95. I'm in here playing these games. That's 89. Wait. Okay. 94.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
That is going to be fabulous. And then this is this is coconut milk. And before, when I was a chocolatier, I used cream. And the difference basically is cream is 65% water, 35% butter fat.
Okay.
Okay. And some solids too. Coconut milk is all over the place. It depends which brand you buy. But this is, I think, 18% fat. So it has more water than cream.
So does that make a difference? So you couldn't use full fat coconut milk?
It depends, because full fat coconut milk depends on who's making it.
Okay.
Some is 25%, some is more, some is 17%. It depends on the brand. And for a chocolatier, the fat content and the water content is very important, because if you have too much water, water's bacteria.
Yeah.
That's why a chicken has lots of water and it will only last like 3 or 4 days. The same with vegetables. Will only last a limited amount of time. So the water's bacteria start to get moldy and go bad. And so we try to keep water to a minimum.
Okay.
And so this has more water in a sense than heavy cream did or does. And so, but we're gonna, so we have 95 of the chocolate, and we're gonna measure 40 grams of coconut milk.
Okay, 40 grams.
Or no, let's measure, we're doing this off the cuff. Measure 10.
Okay.
Because we're going to make a rum.
So you want 10 grams?
Yeah. And don't worry if it doesn't have to be perfect.
I gave 24.
And then we'll just pour a little back in. We're doing a mini recipe today.
A mini, okay.
And then 18. Yeah, 10 grams is actually very small. It's a third of an ounce. Okay. Basically. Okay, that's, let's go one more.
Oh, it has to be precise.
You know, I'm not 11.
Okay, that's 11, okay.
And then you're gonna.
There's hardly any in there, Sebastian.
Huh?
There's hardly any.
Yeah, well.
Oh, but you don't need that much.
We don't need that much.
When you combine it, it'll.
I mean, one of my objectives is not to make things taste too coconutty, you know? Okay. And that way is I use the minimum. So the flavor is really going to be coming from this sugarcane rum. Ooh. Okay? And so that's the idea. That's why you're not going to taste coconut. I mean, we're going to heat it up. This is like a super mini recipe. We do like 50 times, 100 times this in general. Okay. And so this is an induction stove, which I think more homes are getting all the time now. Yes. And it's just great. You know. It's,
oh wow! Oh, that heats fast.
It heats really fast.
Oh my goodness.
And then when this comes to a simmer, then you could just put take it off the heat, and then let's throw the chocolate in there.
Okay. So when it's simmering.
Yeah.
So I can take it off?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can.
I don't think it's simmered on that side, or is. Yeah, it looks like it's simmering.
All right, fabulous.
What does that look like?
Yeah, that looks simmering to me. Okay. That's perfect. You take it off the heat.
All right.
And then you can just throw the chocolate in. You don't even need to put on a scale because you already measured out the chocolate.
So just pour it into the chocolate?
Well, you can pour the chocolate into here.
Oh, pour the chocolate.
The reason is we want the chocolate to melt. And there's so little liquid that it might not melt.
And then put it back on here?
Yeah, you can put it back on there. And we're going to just kind of heat it up a touch. And we're going to sort of semi-melt the chocolate. And the reason we don't put the alcohol in it right away is because if you heat up alcohol, it tends to evaporate. And you won't get the flavor.
And why this particular rum?
Well, we're going to do hopefully a Caparina chocolate, which is from Brazil, and it has lime and rum in it. But it's a very particular rum. It's a sugarcane rum. That's white sugarcane rum, so it doesn't have that molasses. You know, if people usually drink dark rum, and it's molassesy, and it's sort of a really interesting taste. Okay. And it's such a great drink. Which is lime juice and sugarcane rum. It's just fabulous. I mean, and it's not so well known, in this country. But if you go any place in South America, even though it's a Brazilian drink, Caparina everyone knows it because it's such a famous drink. And so I said, why not try to make for Father's Day, make a chocolate, for this.
So what is the most interesting thing that we should know about chocolate? Because I know in the rawest form, it gives us antioxidants.
Right.
But what is something that people would never think that chocolate does?
Something, well, some people say it's an aphrodisiac.
Yes.
So it's sort of like a drug. It makes people happy. The serotonin levels.
It makes me very happy.
Me too. I mean, it's funny, like me and Rigo, who is a production chef here, I mean, we come in here and we eat chocolate every day. We probably eat like 5 or 10 pieces.
I always offer my service as, I am a high quality taster. I make sure that the product comes out perfectly. So anytime you need a taster, you can just, hey Angela, you know what? We're gonna try this new chocolate and I don't know if it's gonna fit. I just need for your taste bud because this is luxe. Taste buds luxe. So
fabulous. So here's a challenge for you. If you want to come up with a flavor combination, we will make it together. Okay? So that's the challenge for you. I'd love to do that with you. That'd be just too much fun. We'll do that.
2023, all on me. Find out that Vegan Pop Eats has its own chocolate.
Yeah, we'll name it. We'll leave a name after you.
See,
which is cool.
Y'all gonna have to talk to me differently. Okay.
So we're down to 0. So
and
now we have to put the rum in. And I think what we'll do is instead of I will normally pour it in directly, but we don't want to get too much in there. So I'm going to get like a cup and we'll pour it into the cup. Okay. So we bring it to 0, and I think we did 10 grams. So we'll do like 20 grams of this sugarcane rum.
So I know this is sugarcane rum, but can this also be made in a drink?
Oh, yes, with lime juice. I mean, that's what we're sort of mimicking.
Okay.
It's a lime juice rum drink.
So how many?
This is like a quick little...
not what I would drink, but just for a taste. Okay.
Yeah, a quick little thing. And you'll sort of see the numbers go up.
That's 1 gram?
Yeah, that's
how many grams?
20. And if you want, you can put 25 grams. Because we're sort of experimenting. And then we'll you will tell me, I think it was too sweet. I think
that's 26.
Perfect. In other words, since we're developing a recipe, we will do it. And then you say, okay, this is how I would do it next time. And that's how, good cooks do.
So do you ever throw away just batches?
No, we don't, because we don't waste anything. But what we do is when we do a recipe, we'll test it on a lot of people.
Oh, okay.
So we never throw anything away.
Okay. But then again, like I said, I offer my services.
All right.
Because chocolate is my love language. It is my love language.
So this is one way to make a ganache come together.
Yes.
And what this does is...
So what we're making is a ganache.
It's a ganache.
Okay.
And a ganache is really just water and chocolate on some level. And water and chocolate really is water and fat.
Okay.
And water and fat is very much like a vinaigrette. And And you know, people always sometimes have a trouble getting the vinaigrette to emulsify. And so for chocolate, we have the same problem. There has to be enough water to go around the fat. There's a whole bunch of technical things that we always think about. So it's the science behind ganaches and tempering chocolate is fascinating.
Have you ever had a mishap with that where it's like...
Yeah, when I first opened, so we're making a ganache. We had ganache all over the walls. It was like from a horror film. Yeah, it was pretty funny. And that was like the third day.
Oh my goodness.
So that happens every once in a while.
So what chocolate do you enjoy making? Do you like doing the ones that are off the cuff? Or do you have one that you just, you know, it's just a spiritual thing?
Well, you know, that's a hard thing because I think if you're like a complete person, sometimes you like sophisticated things,
right?
And then sometimes you like basic things. You know, sophisticated people tend to like basic things more than sophisticated things anyway. Ooh. On some level, I mean, I love cheesecake. I love banana cream pie. You know, those make me happy. You know, and so I'm more. I think most chefs are like this. That we like more home cooked food. Yes. And that includes chocolates too, yes. Like a home-cooked chocolate thing. That's something that is comforting. And then every once in a while we want to test ourselves. So like we have a saffron pistachio chocolate. Ooh. We have a sherry vinegar almond chocolate. Ooh. And so you want to see how far you could go where it's still like enjoyable. So we do that too. But I think most people just want to be happy and comforted with food. I think, you know, because it goes back to our childhood.
So what inspires you to do all of this? Because, you know, like I said, chocolate is a love language. It's an aphrodisiac, and it's just it makes people happy. But what inspires you to keep coming in and creating these different things?
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting question. It's a challenge, and like when we first just opened, someone suggested I do a chagachino. I didn't know what chagachino was.
Chagachingo?
Yeah, chagachino. A chaga is a mushroom powder from a birch tree, and chagachino is a mixture of the mushroom powder and coffee. Oh. So it's like mushroom coffee in a sense. Oh. And I was like, whoa. But then I tried it and it was fabulous.
It was the best thing ever.
And so it's been such an interesting challenge to. My whole goal was to make these chocolates for everybody, and not just for one group of people, so everyone would enjoy them. And I think we've really done it here. You know, I think we have good taste, and I think we sort of figure it out. And if I don't like it, I will not sell it. You know, I will work on it until it's ready.
That's
fair.
And
so
it's able to, like, say for instance, if I was to, even though I'm not, mess this up, you can make this into something else.
Yes. Okay. Certainly. I mean, we might have put too much rum in there.
There's never too much rum, Sebastian.
There's never too much rum. There we go.
What are you doing?
That is true. So this is an immersion blender, and we're emulsifying, in a sense, water and fat. And we need enough water to go around the fat, but not too much water because too much water is bacteria. Mm-hmm. So as a chocolatier, you have a lot of science you have to sort of figure out. And you are going to press this, and if you want, I'll hold the pan, and you're emulsifying it. You're combining the water and the fat. And you can move it like this? Oh. Yeah, you can move it around a little. And I'll go like this as the human shield. Sure.
Ooh, I done took it off. Okay. Yeah. All right. So.
And we're slowly breaking the chocolate down, emulsifying it into the rum and into the coconut milk. Ooh. And sometimes we might have to heat it up a little.
Okay, because it's getting.
Because I'm talking too much. And so we'll just.
So do you blend, or?
Well, it depends. If you know, we're not sort of explaining the chocolate process, then everything will be hot enough.
Right.
Know? But you want it to, cocoa butter is a very complicated fat in its crystal structure. And so to melt all the cocoa butter, you want it around 35 degrees. And so what we do is you could stir that for a second. And what we do, we have a laser thermometer.
Okay.
And then we're sort of waiting until it's around 35 degrees.
35, so it still has some time.
And that means all the different crystals in the cocoa butter will melt, and then it will emulsify much easier.
Oh, it smells good.
And we put the rum in later just so not to evaporate it, as I said.
And what other liquors do you use?
Well, I like using weird liquors, you know.
Okay.
So I make chocolates with Ricard, which is like a licorice liquor from France. I like Nocella, which is a walnut liquor.
Nocella? Okay.
It's so good. I love rum though. Rum and whiskey are great for chocolate.
Rum is just. Have you ever made anything with tequila?
No, that's
not. Is tequila plant-based?
Yeah, it's I think it's from what is it? It's from cactus.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
All right.
So we're gonna take this off.
Okay.
We're gonna emulsify it, and we're gonna put it in a little pastry bag, and then we're gonna fill the molds. And I'll let you fill the molds up.
Yes.
And you don't have to be perfect the first time. It takes a while, but we're not worried about that. You know. And I'm just.
What made you become a chocolatier, and how competitive is this space? Because everyone knows about Godiva.
Yes.
But no one is like really, talking about, the plant-based space. Right. So how did you?
Well, I think over the next 10 years, I think plant-based is actually going to overtake non-plant-based chocolate. I think it's sort of one of the last food groups. I consider chocolate a food group. I think it's sort of the last food group to really not be sort of pushed or exploited or shown to people. And I think, Godiva is a whole different chocolate than we make here.
Right.
I'm not insulting it.
Oh, no.
But their shelf life is like a year. And to make chocolate that lasts that long, you have to do different things.
A lot of preservatives.
More preservatives, more sugar, much less water.
Okay.
So we don't do that. We make chocolates we make them every day, really. So I think the future of chocolate is really going to be plant-based. I think people wouldn't be able to tell that these are actually plant-based chocolates if we didn't tell them. So and that is my main goal, really, is to do that. And so we're emulsifying this a little longer, and then we'll put it into a mold. And if you want to, you can just finish that up.
Oh. So what surprises you the most out of being in this luxury space?
How happy people are when they come into a chocolate shop.
Yes.
It really is. I've talked to people who say restaurants are a stressful situation because you want a particular table, you want, there's all these things that make people stressed out. But a chocolate shop, like all our customers, there's very few stressed, unless it's Valentine's Day, of course.
Right.
Which is a whole other thing. But it's a happy place. And restaurants are happy, but there's kind of a stress thing about, hey, I want to sit over here.
Like,
everyone's happy.
I'm just coming.
Yeah.
I'm just coming to get this goodness.
And so we take off any extra, and this is our ganache.
Okay.
And so it's basically water.
Water.
And it's the water is the cocoa solids, the cocoa butter, and it's also fat from the coconut milk. So it's a combination of those three things. And we're going to put it in a pastry bag, and then I'll have Angela pipe it into the mold.
Okay. So what types of chocolate are there? Like, I know, because I'm used to eating like a chocolate bar, I guess. But, I know that you specialize like in pralines, bars, ganaches. What is the breakdown of those? And is it like, oh, this is your starter chocolate, but then when your palate gets a little bit more refined, these are the ones that are really, set you off?
Well, that's sort of a tricky question. I mean, a certain milk chocolate is most people's starter chocolate.
Okay.
And then people get sophisticated and they have the real bitter chocolate.
Oh.
And then sometimes people get tired of that and go back to milk. You know what I mean?
Okay, got you.
There's these phases people go through with chocolate. And so we are bringing this into a pastry bag. And this is what we're going to fill the mold up.
It's a beautiful golden color.
There's a lot of, sometimes you just want to be comforted and have milk chocolate.
Right.
And sometimes you don't want the sugar, especially if it's like at nighttime, and then you'll have a very bitter chocolate, Okay. And what we do is we're going to...
and where would be the best, I won't say best, but where would be the space that you go to really get that pure, like, chocolate experience? Because I know, of course, New York is, you know, the space, but I know there has to be, you know, other spaces where if you really want to get to the rawest form and, you know, really experience making, like, pure chocolate.
I would say, you know, you can go on vacation in like South America and Costa Rica and places, and they have these small little like chocolate farms, and you can go there, and that will be, you'll taste it raw, you'll taste it roasted, you'll taste it semi ground up, it's all the way ground up. So those are the sort of the places you know, if you're really into chocolate, you know, you can look it up online and you can have a real adventure, you know, go to a chocolate farm someplace.
And how much education do you need in order to know this? Because you mentioned you need to know a little bit of science of everything.
Well, you know, shelf life, you know, there's 4 things as a chocolatier I look for. One is pipeability, how well does it pipe? One is texture, how does it taste in the mouth? One is taste itself. And one is shelf life. You guys have to do like a blind taste, like a sommelier does? Yeah, I mean, you know. Really? Yeah, we don't want to look at it, we just want to taste it and sort of get a sense of
So you can tell flavor. The difference of the chocolate, like, of course a bitter chocolate, you would know that it was bitter, but you had to go to school and, okay, this is a milk chocolate with this percentage of X, Y, and Z, da da da. We
pretty much know how to do it. I think some people are probably better than the other people about that.
Wow.
So here's another little trick. We're gonna pipe this filling into this mold. Okay. Okay. What we don't want is that chocolate will start to melt around 31 degrees. Okay. So we need the filling to be cooler. This is centigrade or Celsius. So we want the filling to be cooler than 31 degrees. Okay. Also will melt the filling. And say the filling was 34 degrees, it would melt the chocolate you're putting in. So we want around 29 degrees. Okay. And so we have this electronic, this is laser thermometer. Yes. And then it's 31 degrees. As soon as it's around 30 or 29, I'm gonna have Angela, you could pipe it in. And then we'll put it in the refrigerator. And we're rushing this whole thing. And I sort of could explain why, as a chocolatier, we don't rush it. There's technical reasons. But we're going to fill these up, and then we're going to close them. Okay. Okay.
With another chocolate.
With a hard chocolate, just like the shell. Okay.
And then you let it set for how long?
Well, in theory, what we do is we fill it up, and then we don't close it. We let it set overnight so it gets hard. And the reason is, and this is a sort of a technical thing, is if you close it right away, what happens is the filling contracts during the night, and then you'll have a little gap between the shell on top and the filling, and bacteria could grow in there. Ooh. So what you do is you let it contract overnight, and then you top it off. And then, so that's like a technical thing we think about all the time. But for now, we're not worried about it, because, you know, we'll eat these over the next day or two. And so we're cooling this filling off, the ganache off.
So the specialty is 100% plant-based. What is other than dairy, what is the main distinction between, you know, what we're used to having versus...
It's dairy. That's the whole thing.
Oh, that's the only thing?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Okay. So if I were going to divide, you sort of asked me this earlier, if I was going to divide chocolates into different categories. One would be caramel chocolate. One would be a praline. Now, pralines are nut-based chocolates, and they're thickened up with like caramel and cocoa butter. And those are my favorite. You guys are going to, hopefully, you guys will try some. And then, so you got caramel pralines and you got ganaches. Okay. And so that's how we sort of divide chocolates up. And a praline is pretty much, it's like peanut butter or almond butter or sunflower seed butter, thickened up with a little bit of chocolate or cocoa butter. The fact is that it has no water in it, and so that will not go bad, because water is the thing that makes things go bad. And so pralines have a long shelf life.
Well, why would water make something?
It's just, it attracts bacteria.
Oh, got it.
That's why, you know, any food that's really wet, like a piece of fruit, will last like 3 days.
Because
and
that's
the water.
And the bacteria.
Yeah. And, you know, that's why, like, the Indians used to, you know, smoke their food over fires for wintertime. And so the meat has a lot of water in it, and they would get rid of all the water, and it would last months. So it's you know, it preserves it, the lack of water, you know. Sugar is a preservative, salt is a preservative, lack of water. You know, it's all these things.
Okay, so this is at the right temperature now.
Yes.
Now what are we going to do?
Well, we'll twist it a little just so it doesn't come out that.
Okay.
And we'll cut off the tip. Now we want this is a very fluid ganache because of the rum.
Right.
So we want a very small, so it doesn't just fill it way
all
too
over the
fast.
place.
And so we'll put this in front of you, and you'll keep that twisted.
I'm so excited.
And then you'll sort of try to fill it up to the top.
Each one?
Yeah, and you can go from one row to another, however you see fit, however you feel comfortable.
Ooh.
Oh, perfect. And then right at the
there?
top, yeah, perfect. Oh, you're so good at this. Wow, look at this.
How fancy am I?
Yes, yes, yes.
And when this sells out, just say, you know what, Vegan Pop Eats did this, and I don't know,
So the one change we'll do with this in the future is I think we'll put like a lime ganache. So it's like a caparina. It's like rum on one level and lime on the next.
Oh my gosh.
So right now it's just going to be like a rum ganache. But it's going to be very tasty too.
And I'm definitely coming back because I would
Look at you.
love to learn more about this because this is so soothing.
It's making chocolate is very meditative. It's sort of like a happy thing to do.
Absolutely. I know you're just joyous every day. Do you ever get sick of chocolate?
No, I have to say I eat it every day, 5-10 pieces every day. So.
You're gonna live forever.
I think it's the antioxidant. I think it's sort of
yes,
amazing.
indeed. Yeah. Well, I cannot wait to taste what you have in store for us. Ooh.
And you could just sort of squeeze it out for the last one.
We don't waste. We don't waste no ganache.
Yeah, we don't like to waste here
at
all. I mean, that's part of our, a vegan. Being a vegan is not wasting things.
You don't waste it. Sustainable.
Yeah.
You just. All right.
Perfect.
Perfect.
So we're gonna put this in the refrigerator, let it get hard. And what we'd do in the future is, like tomorrow, is we'd put another layer of hard chocolate on it. Okay. Which would be the bottom, and this underneath would be the top.
Ooh. So I'm excited. I'm gonna taste this. This is good.
Yeah, it's pretty strong, I bet.
Nothing's too strong. Yes. Now we couldn't have left you without a taste test. Now, I've heard a lot about Casse Cou, so I wasn't blindsided. But we are about to get into the top 3 that will have you coming here, ordering online, and doing what you do. Once you taste these chocolates, you won't want any other chocolate. So, Sebastian.
Well, we have, I think, like 25 chocolates, and it's all subjective. But I'm going to give you our 3 top sellers right now. And I hope you enjoy them.
Yes.
Funnily enough, our biggest seller is our Pistachio Saffron, and it's comforting and sort of exotic at the same time. And then I would say
Pistachio Saffron Caramel. That's what we got.
Yes.
Okay.
And then our second one would sort of be a banana cream pie. So one is sort of sophisticated, one is sort of like comforting.
I'm here for the sophistication. I'm here for it. That's my word.
All right, that's perfect. And this is sophisticated. Speaking of sophisticated, this is a yuzu. Okay. And a yuzu is a tree that originated in China. Ooh. And the Japanese monks brought it back to Japan a long time ago. And it takes 10 years to develop a fruit, so it tends to be expensive and rare. Oh wow! And so that is sophisticated. So you have the saffron, pistachio, banana cream pie, and yuzu. And I really hope you enjoy it.
Oh my goodness,
go, Angela.
So I'm gonna start this off. So this is pistachio saffron caramel. All right. Oh God, it smells so good. Oh my God. Wow. Yes, Sebastian.
Well, thank you, thank you.
Okay, so I've had Beyonce with Destiny's Child. I had that one. Okay. And
that is the banana cream pie.
Okay, banana cream pie. This is, Beyonce doing the solo tour as, Destiny's Child. Oh my God.
That's sort of my favorite at the moment. I've been tasting that every day.
Oh my God. That's so This might be Beyonce Crazy in Love circa Jay-Z in the car.
There we go.
White tank top. Oh my God.
I really like that one. It's just fun. It's on the sweeter side, but it makes you happy. That's how I look at it. So,
I'm happy.
yeah.
Sebastian, I'm happy.
Good.
Okay. So, so this is Beyonce Coachella.
All right.
Because this is, you know, sophistication. That's what you said. So this is the Yuzu?
Yuzu. So it has a sort of a citrus taste.
Okay.
It's very nice. You know,
Okay.
I think. Very.
All right. But before I get into this, you know what I always say? If you can't be good to anybody else, be good to yourself. Come to Casse Cou, get luxury chocolate. You know who I am. I'm Angela Yvonne. This is Vegan Pop Eats, where meat is always obsolete. Oh my God. This is definitely Beyonce at Coachella.
Okay. There we go.
That's Beyonce at Coachella. Oh my God.
So there's sort of 3 different chocolates that you've had to give you different directions, and which is sort of interesting.
I like the direction.
Yeah.
That just made me feel, that made me feel special, Sebastian.
That's what we want. We want people to be happy, you know, so it makes us happy. It really does.
Indeed.